Hello YouTubers. I am not wanting to work right now, so I'm just coming up with anything under the sun not to get back on the computer and work. I'm rather play with guns. Anyway, I've been doing a couple of videos today. Different things. You can, I guess, check out my other videos somehow or another. Not a big YouTube person. This video today is a quick description on how I load my 357 SIGs. Now this is a bad to the bone little pistol bullet right here. And if you don't believe me, you get on Winchester's ballistic website and compare its energy to about anything else outside of the 10mm. That's one just hard to beat. This was a pain in the ass to load. I load for 47 different firearms, and this one is in the top of the pain in the ass to loads, but I have managed to perfect it. These are hand loads here, Hornady XTPs. Let me share with you some of the situations you're going to run into and some tricks that I've learned along the way that's going to help you out big time. First things first, you cannot shoot all parabellum 9mm bullets. All this is a 10mm case that's a little shorter. It's not a 40. If you neck down a 40 to a 357 SIG, it's going to be a little too short. You have to use a shortened 10mm neck down, or just get online and buy you some 357 SIG brass. Everyone's shooting this gun now. Secret Service, lots of my highway patrols around me are all going to 357 SIG. It is the wonder bullet for law enforcement. It's opinionated, but whatever. It's got about the kick as a 40, but it's faster than a 9. It's got a ton more energy than a 9 or a 40. Inside of actually most shooting distances, it carries more energy than a 357 Magnum. Yeah, call me a liar, but jump on Winchester's ballistics website, launch it, and compare the two, and you will see. Of course, the 357 SIG carries energy further down range, but most of your police or your self-defense shootings are averaging in 7 yards, 21 feet. So yeah, inside of that distance, you got as much energy as a 357 Magnum, except you got 15 of them, not 5. Anyway, that said, here's some of the issues that you run into. Because this bullet is a 9mm, you have to use a bullet that will allow you to crimp it. This thing has to be crimped, and it's going to be hard to tell because I can't focus on this thing. But on a normal parabellum bullet, the curvature, the conallure of a typical parabellum 9mm, by the time you set the bullet into the brass for your overall length, the place where you're going to crimp it is actually in the curve, and that's not good. That means you can't crimp it. So you have only special bullets can you use. Now, Spear and some other places, they make 357 SIG specific bullets, which is great. But the beauty of it is these Hornady XTPs are pretty much available everywhere. There's like 4 or 5 gun stores, shops just around me that carry a 9mm in a couple of different grains that can work for this gun. These are 124s. But yeah, they work perfect. It works just to the edge of it and gives me a few thousandths to spare. So yeah, hollow point, inexpensive, available everywhere, and it's a winning bullet. It's a good bullet. Now, so that said, be careful of the bullets that you use. You have to crimp it, and you got to be able to crimp it on a flat surface. Now, the second problem. These are a little bit of a pain in the butt to load because you have to lube that shoulder. You got to lube the body of it, try to keep it off the shoulder. And so you end up a lot of steps. Let me tell you one thing. When you reload a bunch of these little rascals, wiping all the excess off, you get carpal tunnel. Your hands will cramp. It's a pain. It's not like a big piece of brass like a rifle. You can get a hold of it and wipe all the the sizing lube off. These are little tiny little buggers. So I learned a trick. As you know, this is basically a 40 or a 10mm. So what I did is I bought a Lee carbide 40 die. I don't have a 40, but my dad and brother do. So I bought the Lee deluxe set with the carbide sizers. And when I do, this is when I take my brass and I've done all the usual stuff, clean it and everything. I don't lubricate it. I just set it in the 40 die, and I actually size the body of the bullet. Now, of course, the neck don't matter. I take the I take the expanding ball out, mind you. The expanding ball comes out, so it's just the body of the die. And I squeeze down the body, and I get the brass size perfectly. And then I switch it to the 357 SIG die, and at this point the body's fine, so I don't need any lube. It'll go in and out. They don't make a carbide 357 SIG die. If they do, I haven't heard of it, and it's probably going to be horribly expensive. So I have a RCBS, I think, maybe Hornaday 357 SIG set. And so once I size the body on a carbide 40 die without the expander ball, I then put in my 357 SIG sizer die, and because I'm only really bumping this shoulder up here, there's no lube needed, because this is going to go in and out no problem because it's already been sized. So then I go ahead and set it up, and I knock my shoulder and expanding my case mouth here and get it all back in. So I now, yeah, it was 2 strokes, but guess what? I don't have to wipe down 150, 200 cases and get lube off of them. I haven't tried the one shot yet. I've been hearing some good things about it, but it's still, my setup that I've got going for me is pretty nice. The second thing, because of this shoulder is really, really small, and these bullets are exuberantly fast, you don't have boat tail 357 SIG bullets or 9mm bullets. They're all flat based. So whenever you size you have your clean size prime powder dropped round, when you set it into to seat your bullet, what happens is you balance that bullet and try to get it just in there, just perfect. And then when you go to size it, about my luck, it's been about 25%. I'm catching the edge and I'm crushing the case, and you throw it away. That sucks. So what I did is I got online and I bought a universal case mouth expanding die from Lee. It was like $12 on Fleabay, brand new. And so now I've got to take my brass, which is now sized and everything, and I go ahead and I send them through the case mouth expander, and I bump the case mouth out just a smidgen. And when I bump that out, I bump it out. You got a couple of different little wedges that you can put and flip around. There's 4 different sizes. I don't remember the size I use, but it tells you on the paper which one to use for a 355 caliber bullet. So anyway, I bump the mouth out just a smidgen, just so I can get the flat base of this bullet into the mouth of the brass. And then it's sitting there nice and pretty, and I go ahead and seat my bullet. And it does beautifully. Now, all I got to do is that nice little, as you see there, you can see the crimp. I use a universal crimp die because my bowler seating die with RCBS has got the crimp built into it, and obviously I can't use that at this point because I'm having to do the case mouth expansion. It just doesn't work that way. So what I ended up doing is I bought a universal crimp die, and it's a Colette crimp die, and I went ahead and that's for the 357 SIG, and I crimp it. And whenever you crimp it, because it's got 4 Colettes that squeeze it from 4 different directions, you can tell how much crimp you're putting on because you'll see the little space in between each Colette, a little piece of brass that's been undisturbed. So what I do in order to make sure I have a good crimp, because these things are already, I think, 45,000 PSI case pressure, the last thing you want to do is seat a bullet back too far and get an overpressured round. So what I do is I set it in the press, and I go ahead and I crimp the bullet mouth, crimp the mouth of the cartridge, and then I bring it back out, and I just take my fingers and I rotate it about 1/8 of a turn, and I can send it back up in there. And that way the little tiny gaps, the 4 gaps at say 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock position from the Colettes, I shift it, and now I'm squeezing those in as well. Last tip I'm going to give you is about 1 out of every 10 rounds, you need to give it the old college try and see if you can't push the bullet back in there. Take it upside down, push it on your bench, push it pretty hard, and make sure that you have got a good crimp going on. Because like I said, you set one of these things back with already high case pressure, you're probably asking to destroy your gun barrel, injure your hand, eyes, face, everything else. So anyway, that's some of the tips that I've come up with, and it's a lot of extra steps. But if you price these damn bullets, you'll see why you'll go through those extra steps. These things used to be really cheap. And it's kind of funny because when the first big old ammo shortage started to hit the shelves about 5 years ago, well, one of them, my family, they all got the basic 9s and 40s and stuff like that. And here I am shooting this crazy, weird 357 SIG. And he go down to the local, store to pick up some cheap ammo just to go knock some holes in some paper and just make some noise and enjoy the day. They can't find 40s and they can't find 9s. But every time I found these on the shelf because I was probably 1 in 5 in the entire county that owned one. But now all of a sudden we got all this law enforcement buying them up. Matter of fact, my local sheriff carries it, my highway patrol carries it, Virginia Highway Patrol carries it, state north of me. The Secret Service has now adopted a 357 SIG, not necessarily the M&P, but into some form of a firearm or another. So they've determined that this is a pretty bad little bullet. But now all of a sudden they're getting hard to find and they're getting pricey. I used to buy a box of white box Winchesters for like $15. Now it's like $35, $37. It's horse shit. So yeah, all the extra steps to reload these. Oh, let me go back. That cheap white box of Winchesters was ball ammo. If you actually priced up 50 hollow points, yeah, you can more than double that price. And you won't, for 50. All of your self-defense ammo is what, 20 in a box, and it's like $50 for 20. It's bullshit. So yeah, this is XTP hollow point. It's nothing fancy. These are actually cheaper buying the bullets than 9mm ball ammo from Hornady. I don't know why. They're the same weight. I would think there's more to the manufacturing process, but this for a box of 100 is $1 and I think a quarter cheaper than the 9mm Hornady 124 grain ball ammo. I don't know why. Anyway, that said, I'm loading. These things come out to, because I have a ton of brass. I got the brass for free because people was giving it away years ago. I got thousands of rounds of brass donated. I think I'm loading these things for, I think around 4 cents or 6 cents, I think, or I don't remember. I got a calculator on there, so it's cheap. Anyway, so that's why I reload, because they're so dang expensive to buy. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, shoot me some notes down there in the thing. All you haters, don't even bother. I'll just delete your crap. Anyway, enjoy. Hope this helps some of you 357 SIG reloaders.